the help of the Almighty. Pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth and His wisdom, that I may convey His message and so sanctify His name. We are here in Washington, D.C., across from the Washington Convention Center, while the Christian United for Israel convention is taking place inside here in the center. We just passed the most tragic, sorrowful day in the Jewish calendar of Tisha B'Av, the day that both temples were destroyed, and we fast and mourn and never forget the suffering that unfortunately we have been driven from the Almighty's closeness, His temple, to serve Him. And we've gone through around 2,000 years of suffering. And every time throughout this history, we have stood by, and the Jewish people, thank God, have remained faithful to the Almighty, to the Jewish religion, and not strayed from His Torah, and given our lives for the Almighty, given our lives to uphold the Torah. And now, unfortunately, 70 years ago, Zionism, this terrible, this tragic, this catastrophic movement of Zionism, which is a transformation from religion, the Jewish religion, into nationalism, that they're trying to use our name, our identity of Judaism, and claiming it to be theirs. And they claim and they masquerade in the facade of Judaism. They call themselves a Jewish state. But in truth, the state of Israel, which is 70 years, is the greatest evil, the greatest catastrophe for the Jewish people. We mourn together with the destructions of the temple, of this building of the state of Israel. It is the pinnacle of the destruction of the temple, with this building of the state of Israel. Not only is it not helping or buttressing or in any manner good for Judaism or the Jewish people, it is the greatest catastrophe for Jews and the religion. The people who are standing at the head of this have the audacity to claim they're a Jewish state, but it isn't. Just this last few days, this pig, this criminal, this state of Israel tries to again cement and claim the name of Judaism. So they passed in their Ludrikis house of evil, what they call the Knesset. They made some type of law to claim it's a Jewish state, because they see this pig that they masquerade around in and claim that it is Jewish is not being accepted around the world as Jewish. So they decided they have to make another stamp on top of it, put on it a couple, put on it some payas or something to make it be a Jewish state. So this pig, the state of Israel, has all of a sudden again another law to claim it's a Jewish state. But let them know, and let the world know, that Judaism is a religion of 3,000 years, our covenant that the Jews made with God to uphold His Torah, to be subservient to the Almighty. And we are expressly forbidden, since the destruction of the temples 2,000 years ago, to make our own sovereignty. We're not forbidden to steal or kill from another people. We're forbidden to return en masse to the Holy Land to make our own sovereignty. We have 3 oaths: not to rebel against nations, and not to return en masse to the Holy Land, or to make any attempt at leaving exile. So what this Jewish state is one base rebellion against God, nothing more. And here we have in Washington, D.C., a gathering of Christians to support this, what they call Christians United for Israel, for Zion's sake. We will not keep silent. I will not keep silent. How tragic that the world is being duped and buying into their narrative of the Zionists, which is a direct rebellion against God. And God warned us that if we will attempt to leave exile, it'll bring tragedy, God forbid. Jews around the world mourn the existence of the state of Israel. It is totally not acceptable in our Jewish religion. We mourn the existence of the state. And we plead with the nations of the world that they should hear the true voice of Judaism. Hear our great sages, the voices of our rabbis from throughout the generations and from before the state was created, when they pleaded with the United Nations. Rabbi Weiss of blessed memory in 1947, and it's in the records, in the documents of the United Nations. Rabbi Weiss stated, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine," and that's a quote. And all the rabbis around the world who are true to the Torah remain faithful and in total opposition to the existence of the state and all the terrible crimes and death and suffering that they're doing to the Palestinian people. And we want the world to be aware that there's many Jewish boys and girls who are getting beaten and arrested with their elders because they're standing in the streets of Jerusalem, Al-Quds, and around Palestine, occupied Palestine, and refusing to serve in the Israeli army. And they're standing and being arrested because they have a draft in that illegal state of Israel, and they're trying to force the Jewish youth to go and serve in their army. But thank God, our children, our youth refuses to serve in the IDF, in the Israeli army, and they're being brutally beaten, arrested, tortured. Let the world know we are crying with the suffering of the Palestinian people, our brethren, our sisters and brothers in Palestine. And let the world know that the Jews around the world, we cry and feel the suffering of the Palestinians and our Jewish brethren who are being oppressed and murdered in Palestine, in occupied Palestine. We plead with the nations of the world, stand up for the rights of the Jewish people. We've just gone through the Holocaust. We've suffered so much. Help us. Don't let this evil, this Satan, this group of people who are clearly a rebellion to God, a rebellion of the Torah, don't listen to them. Hear the voices of the distinguished rabbis, whether it would be in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, or it is in Jerusalem, all the great sages, our great scholars, and all the books that you can look yourself, you can find it for yourself, and you will see that Judaism does not accept a Zionist state of Israel. Help us, free us from this evil, this unacceptable occupation. We are yearning for the day when we could declare that this Palestine is free from the occupation. The Palestinian people can have back their homes. We are hoping to be able to show our appreciation to the Muslim and Arab nations for these hundreds of years of providing a home and friendship to the Jewish people. We are waiting to be able to embrace the Palestinian people. And we are waiting for the day, ultimately, when the Almighty will reveal His glory throughout the world. When He Himself will build a temple where all the world will gather together and serve Him in a harmony and peace and joy. Amen.